Hey guys, what's going on? Back again with another Vanguard Zombies video. And for this one, I want to discuss more of the drama that's been going on with Vanguard and their Anfang on launch, and some of the stuff that has been happening for the last, honestly, maybe about 12 years. Probably even since the beginning of the history of Treyarch Zombies and Call of Duty Zombies. And it's something that I always think about, and that famous saying that goes like, is it life imitating art, or now like art imitating life? Like what's going on? And also have to give Jason Blundell a lot of credit. It's like, did he really think and notice all this back then? Is it just coincidence? Was Mob of the Dead meant to be symbolic in a way? Maybe not necessarily maybe with Treyarch Zombies, but maybe with society in itself. Why they ended up picking mobsters. What I'm talking about, and you can probably tell by the thumbnail and the title, a lot of these big zombie toxic YouTubers that you guys know, and I used to talk to a lot of them years ago, and I guess the theme of this is going to be kind of in cycles of within cycles within cycles. That like, I think when you're new to the zombie scene, you kind of you think some of the big channels are really cool and stuff like that. You want to really talk to them, and it's pretty thrilling when you first get to talk to them. But then when you fact check a lot of stuff they do, or you watch their videos, or somehow just maybe snap out of it, you kind of realize a lot of them are just kind of, to be honest, like they do a really bad job, And I understand that a lot of them have anywhere from like 100,000, 300,000, half a million, to a million and more that viewers and subs. But in actuality, again, how it relates to what's going on in Vanguard is a lot of them just create fake drama, fake news, and it's the whole, again, like mob mentality where it kind of just blows my mind, and I'm kind of impressed how, in a way, kind of puzzled also how Mob of the Dead is probably the best map to symbolize the zombies community in the way of like, people just jump on a topic or a hate train. I know it's like hot button topics and stuff like that too, that um, people don't really know what's going on. They just want to, again, if you're, like I mentioned, kind of almost like a simp on those big channels, or you're looking to use those big channels to catapult your channel. You talk to them, you become friends with them. But when you look at it, a lot of them, are not great at the maps. They really don't know the backstory well. They don't know how to solve Easter eggs. They really haven't solved anything upon themselves. A lot of them look for the zombies community and other people to solve stuff, and then they just kind of report on it. They steal their information and topic and stories and ideas and Easter eggs, and some of them don't give credit, or a lot of them don't give credit. But again, what I'm talking about is, and just to kind of move forward without dwelling too much on it, is how ironic it is that, every couple of years we get a new director of zombies, and it's been a cycle, again, within a cycle where um, we had, and I guess it mainly started with, again, obviously with Jimmy Zielinski, how a lot of these zombie YouTubers, they realize that they can now dictate, and it's kind of like now you're being part of the story, or they want to be part of the story, and I don't know again if that's why they pick Mephistopheles and stuff like that, because that's kind of what the story is also. Um, but how like people no longer want to be like a fan; they want to be part of the story, and I know it's something that even Cameron Dayton talked about. How again, they no longer want to just play the game, so to speak, but they want to dictate what goes on. They want to dictate what goes on at Call of Duty, and the new devs and stuff like that. How first to start with Jimmy, how a lot of people realize if they bash Jimmy and they bash Jimmy's maps, that now they could dictate who's going to be the next director of zombies, and then after that, we moved on to Jason and Lee Ross, how, and there's a cycle within a cycle, like I said, how the first year, they're the director of zombies. These big channels, they put up videos to cash in on the new director of Zombies. You know, they make a ton of videos. They kind of almost give the director like a false hope of, hey, these people really want to be my friends, they really like me. But then a couple months, couple years later down the road, they, you know, backstab them, and kind of like the news story is going to be like, oh, they want Jimmy or Jason or Lee fired, we need a new director. And I feel bad for some of these directors that like they are kind of given like false hope, and it's um like I said, almost cycles within cycles that like, um, you know, first they love the new director, they love the new map, then next comes, let's bash, you know, their maps, and then let's get a new director in there. We're gonna make cash in a lot of money and make a bunch of stories on the new director, and then after that, we're gonna just like bash that director, and then we're gonna hope that he gets fired and make a bunch of videos that we want them fired. And then next story is a new director, and then after that they're gonna bash them. So like these big channels, like I've mentioned before multiple times, they're no longer the zombies community. They are now like a, trying to be part of the story, and then b, just cashing in. They're more like the media, like I said. And I hate to kind of, you know, point fingers or judge people, but it's just something that I noticed. And I always mention, like, I'm neither a typical zombie YouTuber, and I'm not a typical game dev, so to speak. And a lot of it I'm not going to touch on, but and I guess when you're neither both of those categories or either of those categories, you tend to see stuff a little bit different, and it kind of obviously stuff that goes on in society and stuff like that too. When you're not part of Group A or Group B that are clashing against each other, you're kind of maybe, let's say, Group C, that you kind of see stuff differently. And I don't mean to judge, again, and I myself have not made the right choices in life, but at the same time, you know, you kind of see stuff a little bit differently when you're kind of not involved in a way. And I just feel bad in a way for some of these devs or Treyarch or Call of Duty. They can't see or figure out what these big toxic YouTube channels are trying to do year in and year out, or game in and game out. How again, it reminds me, and it's so, I don't want to say cleverly done, because I don't know if that was something that Jason Blundell and the devs noticed back then, and why they picked like Mob of the Dead. Maybe it was meant to like symbolize society, how like the mob mentality. I don't know, maybe what was going on in 2012 or 2013 when the map came out. Maybe there was something in, you know, either pop culture or in the news or society or in the world, that maybe they saw like the mob mentality, you know, how it dictates or tries to dictate what goes on. And it's just so crazy to think about the zombies community and the big, again, toxic, hateful zombie YouTubers. How you know, they have that mob mentality, and they get their subs and their simps to kind of like band with them, and like, hey, we're gonna take down the current director of Zombies, then we're gonna bring in a new director of Zombies, and then a couple years later we're gonna make a bunch of videos and we're gonna love the new director, and then after that we're just gonna bash all their games and maps, and then we're gonna get it, you know, a new set of devs and directors to come in, and then we're gonna dictate like if Modern Warfare 2 is gonna have zombies, and we're gonna wish that like Zombies needs to be canceled, and then after that we're gonna wish for Zombies to come back. Like, it's just so crazy how and like I said, you either have to not be part of it or step back, or I know the Treyarch devs are really smart and clever, like a million times smarter and clever than I can ever be. So I'm sure they see this stuff, but it's just crazy how, like I said, I don't know if Jason Blundell was just so clever and ahead of his time that he knew, or how ironic or crazy in a way that, like, you know, it's sad that like Jason Blundell ended up being part of that cycle. How now, you know, the irony of it, and the whole like Mephistopheles and, you know, Spaceland Zombies and Willard Wyler, also how like now, as you guys know, at the end of that story, you know, they now become part of the story. They kind of like we're the new Willer Weilers of the Afterlife Theater and stuff like that. But how crazy it is, and sad in a way that like Jason Blundell is now part of that cycle. That they loved them the first year, then they got invited to the studios, they cashed in on that, they grew a lot of these big channels that are negative and toxic grew their channels and stuff like that, and then after that now they bashed Jason Blundell, they wanted him fired. Next we got in Kevin Drew, and then in between that we had Lee Ross and Cameron Dayton, and they cashed in on World War II Zombies release and IW Zombies release. They cashed in on it, then they made a bunch of hateful videos, and then they cashed in on that, and then next they want a new director, so hey, let's get those viewers and subs to kind of hate on the new game, and so we can get a new director, so then we can create more drama, and then after that cash in on those. Again, it's just so crazy and ironic in a way that to see what goes on, and I hate to make it sound again like I'm judging, but it's crazy how accurate what's going on is compared to like Mob of the Dead and some of the stories and zombies, that eventually now we're in the stage, like I said, cycles within cycle, how Kevin Drew started with Cold War. Well, actually before that, like I said, they wanted Jason Blundell gone. Jason Blundell needs to be fired. Chaos Story was the worst. And it's not the zombies community. So again, I don't want to mix people up with hateful, toxic, vile, negative, greedy zombie YouTubers, the big, small, medium, and large zombie YouTubers that, like, again, it started with Jason Blundell. Jason Blundell needs to be fired. Black Ops 4 is the worst. Let's create some fake drama and fake news. And then let's get a new director, and then we're going to cash in that there's a new director. We're going to love the new map, and then after that, they're going to backstab him. And then after that, they're going to wish that he gets fired. And that's where we're at right now in Vanguard Zombies, that they want, whoever's in charge of zombies, I guess, out of ignorance, I'm just going to say it's Kevin Drew. Eventually the videos are going to start coming that they want Kevin Drew fired. They need to bring back Jason Blundell. And that's the other thing too, how the pretty much the dev cycle, or the toxic zombie YouTubers cycle is, love the new dev, wish them fired, wish them back, that fake news that they're definitely coming back. Jimmy Zielinski's definitely coming back. There's inside information, rumors that Jimmy's coming back, and then they love Jason, and then then they hate Jason, and they wish for Jason to come back. And again, Lee Ross and Cameron Dayton, Sledgehammer World War II Zombies was the best. We need them back, stuff like that. And Lee Ross, same thing. They loved it, and then they hate it. And it's the same thing with these channels, and I hate to throw it in there, but I'm going to throw it in real quickly. Even with Fortnite, they tried Fortnite, and I think a lot of the things that happen is and the reason for the cycle, I would say, one of the reasons is some of the games get too difficult for these big toxic zombie YouTubers that they have to now bash the game. So that's part of the cycle too, that like, Black Ops 3 was easy, Black Ops 4 was difficult, so instead of these toxic, hateful channels saying, hey, they're not good at zombies, and it's exposing them that, they're just kind of fake and they're just a front, they're not really good at zombies, they don't really know the story, they really haven't solved anything. Instead of just admitting all that, they just bash the game and bash the dev, and they want a new dev, and then it just creates a cycle. But then I'm just going to leave it with this. The question is, like, is the cycle ever going to be broken? Like, what would need to be done to break the cycle that these big, hateful, toxic zombie YouTuber channels have created? Again, they're more like the media, and they're just, I don't know even what to call it, but they're more just like the media or reporters. They're no longer the zombies community. They don't search for Easter eggs. They don't look for the backstory. They don't solve anything. They never really have solved anything. A lot of the stuff was hand delivered to them, yeah, either through Treyarch or people like me used to give them all the answers. Then I realized I'm like, hey, I'm doing all the legwork and not making any money from it. These guys are all cashing in and stuff like that. And then they start like, um, realizing that you're a lot better than them. So then they start hating on you. So it's just it's one big mess. And again, I would wish, but I don't know where it would have to come from. It would come from Activision or Treyarch themselves. That like they need to eventually separate themselves from some of these big channels that are just hateful year in and year out. And I know it's unfortunate that the devs can't necessarily do that themselves. They're kind of probably told, and I think somebody mentioned that, maybe one of the QA testers, that like they're told to kind of listen to the big channels and stuff like that. But I'm glad what Lee Ross did, so I'm gonna throw that in there real quick too. That like when he left Activision, like he spoke what was on his mind. He spoke about how he knew how hateful and toxic the YouTubers are and stuff like that. That they just hated on the game. I think Cameron Dayton said something like that also. And like Cameron Dayton too is another one that's really really smart. That like he picked up on a lot of stuff too. He knew that like, and I saw at one of his videos that he mentioned that, or interviews that he mentioned that these channels now, or a lot of the YouTubers, want to be part of the creative process or the creative team in a sense. He said that they just kind of want to dictate too much of what goes on in the game, if they, or even the zombie YouTubers and themselves. They love that cycle, and that's why I'm saying like it's just so crazy how perfect everything is if it was thought up ahead of time by maybe Jason Blundell. That like maybe Monty was supposed to maybe symbolize the toxic zombie big channel YouTubers that like they don't want the cycle to be over. They don't ever want to move on. How they want the same game, same maps year in and year out, the same premise and ultimates. I know sometimes I could be guilty of that. Like I said, I'm not judging. I'm not perfect. But how, in a way, that maybe Monty was supposed to symbolize the zombie YouTubers, how they no longer want to move on. They need that cycle there. They want the same maps year in and year out. They want the same premise and ultimate story year in and year out. Anyways, I think I went a little bit longer than I needed to, but I think I got the point across that how crazy it is that Mob of the Dead is the perfect symbolism for what's going on in Vanguard. How, like, again, we're at that stage where they loved Kevin Drew, they loved Cold War. Now, like, hey, let's create some drama and let's hate on the newest game and see what happens if they can get him fired and stuff like that. Or again, and then these channels all want or think that Jason Blundell is going to come back, and it's just crazy to think that they think Jason Blundell will come back. Anyways, I'm going to leave it at that. I'll see you guys later.